Hi everyone! We are finally going to Jungfraujoch. The weather is unusually warm this late fall, so we thought it might be a good idea, and it's not going to be too cold. We are doing a day trip from Zurich by train, so need to get up at like 6 a.m. It is also a bit of an experiment for us, as we don't do day trips that include 7 hours of total travel time. So we will see how we feel about this decision. We could have driven, but only to Interlaken. Then we would have to park and get on the mountain train anyway. So we decided to make this a rail-only trip. And on the way back we will stop by beautiful Interlaken. Train from Zurich to Bern takes about 1 hour. From Bern to Interlaken takes also 1 hour. Then from Interlaken with mountain train to Grunewald takes about 45 minutes. Then 15 minutes on fancy cable car, and finally another 25 minutes train to the top of Europe. Total travel time one way is 3.5 hours. We will talk about getting to Jungfraujoch, where it is, what it is, how much it is, not necessarily in that order and without any judgment. Jungfraujoch is one of the top Swiss tourist destinations. So hopefully this video will help you decide whether you want to include this place in your Swiss itinerary, or it might simply entertain your curiosities. So what is it? Jungfrau, or young lady, in this case actually implies virgin, and Joch means yoke, or connector or ridge. Here it's a ridge between two 4,000 plus meter high mounts in the Bernese Alps, the Jungfrau and the Mönch. Jungfrau region itself is famous with its beautiful villages such as Lauterbrunnen and Gründenwald, and of course all the stunning alpine scenery. Now, why go there? I think first and foremost you are guaranteed winter 365 days a year. So for instance, if freezing appeals to you for a short time only, this is a place to visit. It does get quite windy and cold, so make sure to have windproof and warm clothing and shoes, and layer up. Videos on how to dress up is also coming soon. You also get to see and usually hike on the largest glacier in the Alps, Aletsch Glacier. It is 22 kilometers long. It was unfortunately closed for some reason this time. And you get to visit the highest railway station in Europe at 3,454 meters above sea level, as well as ride one of the most modern cable cars in the world. Of course there are other things, but these are the most important and unique attributes of Jungfraujoch, in my opinion anyway. Getting there, in our case from Zurich main station or Hauptbahnhof. Usually the quickest route will take you via connection in Bern to the pretty town of Interlaken, Ost train station or East train station, in about 2 hours. It's 7 a.m. and we didn't have time for breakfast, so let's enjoy a nice Swiss service on the train. Full price of round-trip ticket to Interlaken is about 160 francs, which is a lot, but don't worry. Considering you aren't coming to Switzerland just to see Jungfraujoch, there are many options that make the cost a lot more reasonable overall. At the end of this video, I will explain probably the most common Swiss transport savings scheme. Quick tip on the train from Bern to Interlaken: sit on the left side of the train car. That's where the views will be. Now, the mountain rail and cable car is a separate ticket. You can buy them online on their website, the link is below, or even at the ticket booth. We are taking a train from Interlaken Ost to Grindelwald Terminal, then a cable car called Eiger Express to Eiger Glacier, and finally a train all the way up to Jungfraujoch. By the way, this last leg is more like a subway ride. The entire rail is inside the mountain, which is cool, but there aren't any views for once. First off, when you arrive, you almost immediately start feeling the altitude sickness. One advice is to take it easy and don't start running around and climbing stairs. Allow your body to get used to this environment for a bit. The situation map highlights 10 points, so why don't we go through them one by one. Number 1 is the train station itself. Nothing remarkable about it, except that it's the highest train station in Europe. Number 2 are the lockers you can use to keep perhaps some of the stuff you don't need for the time being, to lighten your load. Number 3 is Jungfrau Panorama. It is some sort of 360-degree cinematic experience. Frankly, we didn't quite get it. So, apologies, I said I wouldn't judge. Number 4, take the elevator to the Sphinx observation deck. It is the highest point of the Joch, with magnificent views of Glacier and the Alps. Point number 5 is the Aletsch Glacier itself. This is where all sorts of snow activities take place. But we didn't realize they closed in the middle of October and won't open until the end of March. So another tip, if you want to fully experience this place, come between April and mid-October. And number 6 is Mönchsjochhütte, which is a restaurant and the highest manned hut in the Alps. And we don't have the image of that because it was also closed, and to get there, that's a hike across the glacier. So there we go again. Point 7 is Alpine Sensation. A bit of a visualistic theme park with some history of this digging project and quirky and shiny objects. Point 8 is Ice Palace. This is a cool, very cool indeed place. Walk inside the actual glacier and observe mesmerized tourists. Be careful, very slippery. Point 9 is the Plateau. This is another place where you can be outside and play in the snow a little bit, while absorbing the wide alpine beauty. Finally, point 10. It's the commerce. Shops, cafe, 3 restaurants, fancy one was all booked up, Indian restaurant was closed, and we ended up hungry at the self-service canteen. Look how hungry. Oh, and surprise, surprise, there is chocolate. That was Jungfraujoch. So we're going back and we're gonna make a quick stop at the Eiger Glacier and then also walk through the town of Interlaken. Interlaken serves as a transportation hub that people arrive to before hitting the Jungfrau as well as the greater Bernese Oberland region. We came to Interlaken during the COVID lockdown. It was quite sad looking with everything closed and very few people, so it did not impress us. But now we realized that it's a lovely and vibrant town. Many beautiful and charming buildings, as well as some remnants of the plague of the 60s and 70s architecture. Oops, here I go again, Judge Judy. Now let's talk about the cost of transportation. As I mentioned, full price of round-trip ticket from Zurich to Interlaken is about 160 francs. You also need to purchase the ticket for the mountain train and cable car from Interlaken to Jungfraujoch, 185 francs. So let me give you an example of how to deal with these prices. Probably the most common deal is to purchase a half-off card from SBB, which is a Swiss Railways. Tourists can buy a month-long validity card for 120 francs. The expenditures for 2 round trips we discussed takes you back by 345 francs, but if you buy a half-off card you immediately save 52 francs just on this trip. Then you can continue saving 50% on almost all transport in Switzerland for the rest of your stay. Unless your trip is longer than 1 month, then you'll need to buy another half-off card. We get back to Zurich quite late and tired, so just something to consider, especially if you are traveling with kids or individuals of a certain age. you might want to consider staying at a hotel for a night or two, somewhere around Interlaken perhaps, because there are definitely other places to visit in the region. We made a couple of videos and the links are in description. Thank you for watching. Hope you found this episode interesting and or entertaining. Please leave your questions and comments in the comment section. Hit the like button and subscribe to our channel if you haven't yet done so. Tschüss!